They're claiming that they have a warrant to enter this property, and they've cut down the lock already.
Yeah, and it's all about the electricity.
Hello, brothers.
Nothing else.
Could I speak to...
We'll speak to the constable in Eel.
This guy seems to be in charge of these lot, and he's obviously the...
you say you have some paperwork?
We've just got a warrant basically to fit a meter or disconnect basically. Like I was just saying to the lady, we could fit a meter, key meter, and you just pay for your electric that you're using as you go.
Was this something that your organisation
No,
took to the
EDF.
court?
EDF supplied the electricity to this property, okay?
And they've claimed that we're not...
Well, you know, it's all tapped in. They've told me there's no meter there,
Yes,
so you're going
that's right.
straight into the cutout,
Yes,
which
absolutely.
is illegal.
Well, it would be illegal in England, but we have already declared
yeah,
this piece of land out of England, so that's what I need to speak to you about,
Yeah.
so you do understand.
I am purely here
Yeah, to keep
to
the
allow
peace.
these people to do that job. I don't intend getting into a debate about what is England. Yeah, I can only follow the laws I'm sworn to uphold, and
But
that's
that
the
would be-
laws of England.
Indeed.
And this falls quite clearly within the category of England.
No, it doesn't, sir.
Well, the court and the legislator and the landowner would disagree, wouldn't they?
If you can think of the bigger
I'm not
picture...
looking at the bigger picture, sir.
So
I'm
there has
looking
to-
at what I need to deal with today.
I'm not a
This
sir,
is not
I'm
your
a
land.
man. Sorry.
This is not your land.
This is God's earth.
This is owned by somebody else.
This is God's earth,
If you
first
want
and
it to be
foremost,
God's
brother.
earth,
It is God's earth.
buy it
It's
off
true.
them.
We would offset and discharge any claim of value in the commercial world
So I'm
against the
gonna get back in my
Sesta
bag.
KV.
I'm going to allow those
Against
people
the
to do what
Sesta
they need to
KV.
do.
You are on a GoPro, yeah? Is this being recorded? Because I'm making this as a notice to you as an agent of the Crown, as a notice to the principal of the Crown, which is a woman who's known as Elizabeth and who does personate as Queen of England, but that is not something we have any value to. We don't recognise this as England anymore.
Okay, well then,
Any of it.
with respect, sir, I don't recognise that that's your land.
It's
and the
not.
courts
It's
doesn't.
God's. And this is the point. We're
So
holding
we-
it
so
on
if it's
behalf
God's
of
land, we
God's
can come in
land
and do what we want to
as
do then.
God's trustees.
So we can come in then.
No, I'm
Well,
afraid
if
not,
you're
sir.
God, if it's God's land, it's my land.
It is all of our land,
believe in God.
but you don't have the need to be personating here today.
I'm not
You're a man.
impersonating?
Yes,
Yeah.
I recognise you
Yeah.
as a man
So-
standing
and
on
I believe
earth.
in God.
I'm a
This is
man
God's
standing
land,
on earth.
so why can't I come
we
in?
both stand under God before the law. We don't live in England anymore. That's just you and me living on God's earth. And on God's earth, we live in peace and love with all of our neighbours, and we don't try and charge each other, and we don't try and do things that interfere with their way of life. We have our own culture. We are a new tribe living on God's earth, not in England. So as England, your law, you can apply it to yourselves in each other, but you cannot apply this to these people. These are God's children now, not Queen. They don't belong to the Queen. We've disclaimed, renounced and revoked any allegiance or agreement that we ever made to be subjects, citizens or anything else to the Queen or the Crown or any country, this or any other. It's all God's planet. It was all given to us as a gift for free. Why are we fighting over it? Why are we saying that it costs this, that and the other? It's all an insanity. We don't want to play anymore. So we've just gone back to living on God's ways. You understand?
Healing the
I
land,
mean, first
boys.
Christian God's ways before
Healing
the
the
Catholic
land.
Church got hold of it and twisted it into some satanic religion. Yeah?
The
We
problem we've
just
got
want
is
to live in peace.
the electric.
Yeah, so where should I start? I suppose, like, aside from the gardening stuff that we've done here, obviously we're kind of like moving out of a judicial system that is very corrupt, and you know, spoke about it before that. Before there was England, there was man's always been here, and just because some pirates decided that they wanted to make up the world of commerce doesn't necessarily mean people like us have to abide by that, especially not if they're using poor land management and creating scarcity of resources as a means of controlling the population. You know, on a fundamental level, that's just wrong.
You might look at these hills and think, oh, look at the lovely postcard view or whatever, but actually they're nothing but industrial factory floors essentially, and it's almost like they've been designed to throw water and nutrients away as fast as possible. But if you look at nature actually does the opposite of that, and it aims to harvest as much energy as possible. So that's water, sun, wind, whatever, air I should say. And yeah, you know, this is the way these lands are being managed is the cause of all of the world's problems. You know, poverty, pollution, illness, and everything that's related to that. But yeah, once you get into permaculture and start to understand the ethics and principles and the design of a healthy landscape, these are just like the most hideous things you'll ever see.
And so if you can see land being mismanaged and there is a scarcity of resources, I think it is actually our responsibility to reclaim that land and to say, look man, you know, there's going to be a point in time where the soil can't be replenished because people won't know how to. And you know, it's our responsibility it's our responsibility to look after the soil, to replenish the resources, and to make sure that if we are going to have the joy of having children, then we bring them up in a fair and just place and bring them up in the right place whereby they have the ability to discern for themselves what's good or what's bad, and hopefully they'll even see what bad land management is.
Any commercial value can be offset against the Escalating Trust, which was formed in 1666 for the Crown of England to pay for the people's needs. And we are claiming against that. We want our inheritance from the Crown, from the Queen, who's held it in trust for all of us to come forward when we're ready to look after a little bit of God's earth on our terms. Yeah, we don't want to do it the English way anymore.
Perhaps you could do that, see if it was on the Queen's land, but you're not.
Well, this is ultimately anything that anyone claims is theirs is by licence from the Crown. It's all land registry. The registry is the Queen's. Anything you register, you give to the King. Register, give to the King. And so by registering land, you've actually given it to the Queen to disperse and tell you who can live where and where.
Don't tell him what happens when you register your children.
Yeah, well, you give them to the Queen as well, and she decides how they get educated, what they get to know, and how they get to live. And we were all put through that educational system too, brother, and we have woken up to it. We know what's wrong with it, and we will not stand for it anymore. We will not give it any source or succour. We will not accomplice ourselves to its crimes, because we know we would be in fault then too. You know, we're living pure and clean to God's will. This is not a breach of the peace, but this is now an invasion of England against a peaceful nation. We've declared it out of England, and the kingdom of heaven on earth it is. Until you invade it and capture it back for the English crown as if it was a rerun of the Norman invasion, which is what this essentially is today. You can see what I'm saying. You can understand it. It's not hard to get your head round, is it? Yeah, we're being very, very simple about this. And peaceful, loving people. We just want to live in peace. We authorise any commercial claim, even to the claim of the land, by anybody to be offset against the Sestivit. Which the Queen can authorise. And I've just asked that man to give that notice to the Queen. He is one of the Queen's servants. He took an oath to serve her. Yeah. So I'm asking him to do his duty, and he's not. He's not operating as a constable here today. He's personating. So he's personating the constabulary while being a police officer in order to aid you in your commercial claims against us, which is all statutory legislation, nothing to do with people anyway. It doesn't even affect you unless you want it to. It's all by agreement, and we don't agree. Simple. And by our lack of agreement, you can't force it upon us without it being literally an invasion of our privacy.
It's the power.
In this instance, it's an invasion of a foreign kingdom.
No, don't get
England, nobody sent you out here to invade another country today, but that's what you'd be doing, literally. This is not part of England. We've declared it already 2-3 weeks ago in front of the police as a notice to an agent, but I don't know if he got the notice to principal bit. What I've spoken to him about is literally, he now needs to go and ask Queen Elizabeth whether she wants him to come and invade England, to invade this part of not England and capture it back under the English flag. We've declared it as a peace territory. This is a sanctuary of peace and love. Yeah, all the way around this piece of land. We've put a claim in against the one man who keeps harassing us. And I know that your business here was to do with his calling you 2 weeks ago, la la la, and you then rolled forward from there.
We have nothing to do with him.
What?
We have nothing to do with him.
What we'd say then, if you are the electric board, then present as a man a true bill to us as men and women, and we'll attend to it immediately. But no true bill was being sent. We already have said we don't want any more commercial activity with you. That's why we put the meter off, and we're allowed to do that. So we just now accept that God's electricity coming through the generation of you good souls, we would, yeah, we'll just accept.
The meter belongs to EDF.
I believe
The meter's not on there.
no.
There's
Yes,
no
but
meter.
it was on there.
It was never
Yeah,
here
but
when we. It
there's
was
no
never here
meter.
when
It's
we
not been
moved
there
here.
for months.
Right, well, and cables going above, they belong to WPD. So they're entitled to take them away anytime they like.
Well, we've already spoken to them in that respect when they came here 2 weeks ago, and they went away, and we haven't.
weren't gonna.
They said they were quite happy to leave it
Yeah,
the way it was. It was all safe and
Yeah.
tidy the way they were.
EDF,
They
'cause
even
EDF
said
pay-
they were sorry for coming on
Yeah,
board and
'cause
disturbing the
because
stuff
EDF
that we'd done.
pay-
I grew up on a concentration camp in at the arse end of Liverpool, really, and you know, it sounds like a joke, but it was actually just a concentration camp. And the only conclusion I could come up with after leaving there and sort of seeing these places everywhere, they call them council estates, they're just concentration camps. But they, you all right, mate? You got your bucket? Yay! But the only conclusion I could come up with after leaving these places is that they were designed with one question in mind, and that was, how do we destroy the human spirit? Because the things that I've experienced and the things that I've witnessed are insane, man. They're just insane. And people are being tortured on a daily basis, day in, day out, on every level. They're being tortured physically, psychologically, emotionally and spiritually. And just something, if you start learning about natural law, if you see this harm being caused, to stand by and do nothing with no action will yield the same consequences as if you were causing the harm yourself. And we're seeing that everywhere, you know, by the inaction of all of us as a species on this planet. The consequences that we're suffering is pollution, poverty, illness, and you know, the list goes on. What's that, bud?
I came from a world, from a life, where everything was just fucking horrible. You know, we're all horrible to each other, and it's just all lies and hatred and backstabbing and cheating and stealing. And yeah, I thought the reason I was like that was because that's the world I chose to live in. And then I came to the normal world, and it didn't take me long to realise that all of the bad things from my life and my world are still just as prevalent in the normal world, but it's even worse because it's all hidden and everyone pretends like everyone's friend, and it's just absolutely fucked. And I saw this pretty quickly, and it concerned me because I wanted to change who I was and what I came from for my children. And I thought that by being part of the normal world and just being a normal person, that I could give them the best life I possibly could. But yeah, it didn't take long to see that I didn't want them to be part of the normal world either, because that's even more fucked than the crazy world of crime and drugs that I came from.
There was various like things that happened basically regarding abuse and things like that, but it was basically where people had obviously not been brought up properly because they grew up in a hostile environment, and because of that they sort of had hostile behaviours towards themselves and towards other people. And you know, my mum ended up homeless with us, and she was in South Africa, but you know, she was majorly came from like wealth, real wealth, and then all of a sudden overnight, you know, she's crying with her youngest daughter in her arms because she doesn't know what's going to happen the next day because she's lost everything. And I don't know, the strength that she needed to get through, I don't think anyone would have got through what she got through. But we're all here now, and then when I lived in Holland I just saw the system failing there. They nearly took us, the kids, off my mum. Someone who's like literally given their whole life to look after their kids and be their kids, and because my mum let us run around bare feet, and she didn't want us to get vaccinated, and she didn't believe in the kind of like the establishment and stuff like that, she was like, no, fuck you guys, I'm bringing up my kids the way I want. And because of that they wanted to put us in care. So already from that thought I was like, well, who are they to tell us how my mum wants to bring us up? And then when we moved to England, my mum always like looked. We lived in council estate and stuff, and it was a culture shock coming here for me, because in Holland the girls were so much younger anyway. I mean, when I came to England, felt like a 12-year-old living amongst 12-year-olds that were actually something like 16, and they were over-sexualized, and they took me down that route and told me that, and bullied me because I wasn't, you know, like up to speed with things and stuff like that. And then eventually, like after going through college and uni, I always had like this knowing that the institution was fundamentally wrong, because we never really had our needs met as a family that was supposedly being supported by the government or whatever it was, but we never had our needs supported. So for me, there was like, I started thinking, why not? Why not? Why do we have to work so much when there should be a different way there should be a different route that we can take?
We bought the van, we got rid of the house, moved into the van, and then came down to Totnes. We'd heard that, like, you know, a lot of similar-minded people were down here, and it was sort of like hippie land, and just everyone was all chilled and peaceful and things like that. So we came down here and we literally parked in a fucking car park down on the river in our van and just lived in the car park for a while, and it was great. And then we met Carl at a fire. The fire's really strange. It's just like, it's quite surreal. It's like a load of people just sitting around this fire in the woods talking about what everyone else would just brand conspiracy theories. And like, it's hilarious because we all know what's going on. But if anyone from the outside world can see us, they'll be like, they're all crazy tinfoil hat people.
You know, everyone knows the world, or all of these leading institutions are all corrupt, and by going along with it and saying, oh, that's just the way it is, we can't do anything about it, is a load of crap.
The world that we're living in, the system that we're being forced to live in, is just... Wait, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Bullcrap. Bullcrap. That's a kind of medium. Yeah, cowpat. So, yeah, we want to basically create abundance, heal the land, save the land from these corporate entities trying to steal from us. And yeah, we want to stop that, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, and that's why we're here, to protect this land and heal it for, you know, generations to come. Like my kids, I want my kids to grow up on a field and that, and fucking getting veg and fruit, and yeah, that's it. That's my spiel.
Sweet.
Who I talk to is kind of a representative of the group, who's kind of acting on behalf of the group.
Okay,
and so do I. Right, I'm
He's
Chris.
not a sir, he's a man.
I'm not a sir, I'm a man standing under God on earth.
Right.
Do you recognise me as a man standing on
I
earth?
do, yes.
And this is earth,
Yep.
not England.
Right, my name's Chris.
Hello, Chris.
How can I refer to you? How would you like to talk to you?
Man.
Man. You want me to refer to you as man?
Or you can call me Rob if it makes
Rob?
you comfortable.
Which should you rather?
I am a man who is called Rob.
Okay.
So you can call me Rob if you will.
Okay, thank you, Rob. I believe that the Power guys have shown you a copy of the warrant, and someone's taken a photo of it.
No, we haven't seen
No, we
this.
haven't
or-
taken any
It's
photos.
not relevant in this instance.
Okay.
We don't recognise the paperwork of England having any effect on the Kingdom of Heaven, which is what we declared this as
Okay.
all but 2.5 weeks ago to someone in your condition.
Right.
With, I believe you've got a recording device.
I have, yeah, so everything's been
Excellent.
recorded.
So we do make it as a notice to you as an agent of England and
Okay.
an agent of the Crown.
Yep.
So this is a notice to you as an agent, and therefore notice to the principal, which is a woman known as Elizabeth, who is the Queen of England for you, who have sworn duty to serve her. And that's all very well and good. You've got the voluntary choice to do that,
Okay.
and I understand and respect your choice in that.
Okay.
But we've chosen not to, and not to respect or have anything to do with the country known as England or any other country in the world. We're
Okay.
just a peaceful nation of God's children living back down on God's earth
Okay.
before the idea of England was ever invented.
So may
and
I
brought
ask-
here by the Normans in a violent military invasion.
Yep.
And they then stayed, settled the land, and then carried on recruiting more and more of our lot to serve them, to keep the rest of the people in a form of slavery that we will not accept or approve of.
May I ask, where does the electricity come from then, that you're
God,
using?
ultimately.
Okay.
All of earth is God,
Your
given to us
electrical-
as God's gift.
So,
Your
so,
life,
so, it's,
our
so it's
life,
coming
and
from
all of earth is
England's
God's.
national grid.
We recognise,
and you don't recognise.
We recognise ourselves as trustees of everything on God's earth. What little electricity we may use, we authorise the commercial value of it to be offset and discharged against the Cester KV.
Right.
Now, the Queen knows all about that, even if she hasn't bothered telling you.
Okay.
So all commercial claims against us can be just settled easily by the authorities, your side of the fence. It's your liability that you create, so you must perform the remedy by law. We can't do it. We don't even read or write. I don't speak your language.
Will
Every
you let
word
these guys on to put
we
a
speak is
to
in
set-
lowercase.
to make
Sorry,
the
please let me
electoral
just
safe?
finish this. Every
you've got
word
kids
we
on site.
speak and
It was
hear
already
and
deemed
understand,
safe.
read or write is in lowercase letters only.
Okay.
And we don't recognise capitalisation in letters or the meaning of it having any relevance to us. So all those bits of paper written in uppercase, lowercase and full capital letters, they don't relate to us. They relate to persons and citizens, other commercial fictions as such. All part of the English system, nothing to do with God's earth and God's children living on God's earth.
Right.
What we see this
whilst I
is as a
respect-
separate country, as if we were now Switzerland, declared as a peaceful nation just wanting to be left alone in peace, and we would like the Crown to settle all commercial charges that they claim we are in breach of.
Right.
And
Okay.
we'll
Whilst
quite
I respect
happily
your
take
beliefs,
that to
and I
the relevant
support
venue.
you holding
we can't
those beliefs,
we can't hold
we
court
still
every day at the
have-
gate, which is what we're being forced to do every time you people arrive with some controversy, create conflict, raise it
We
up to
don't-
some
we don't
position
want
where you
to-
want to invade the kingdom.
We don't want to create
But
conflict.
that's what you're
the last
asking to
thing
do,
we
to
want
come
to
in
do.
here to make something happen that sorts your
They want
paperwork out.
to make.
And so I spent quite a long time just sort of, just burrowing down into myself and becoming very sort of introvert and just not wanting to be a part of anything. Because whatever I could have taken part in was broken. Because I was broken, just like everyone else that lives here was broken, and all of you outside are broken. And that's the reason the world is broke, because we all are.
I was probably about 19. I can actually tell the moment I woke up. I was working for Banksy's thing, Dismal Land. I was a dismal steward there, and I basically met a guy called Gavin Grindon who had this thing called the Riot Bus, and in it he was talking about CCTV surveillance and how basically since the creation of IBM we've moved down this route where we've essentially had our behaviour psychologically changed through a CCTV system, and that makes us behave in a certain way. And it came from a project that he did with Jeremy Bentham. Basically came up with something called the panopticon. When I found out about the panopticon, that there's literally a circle like this, and in the middle is a pole that the guard can see everyone else in the prison, but the prisoners can't see the guard, and that basically meant that the prisoners were always on edge. They always had to behave in a certain way just in case this prison guard saw them, just in case they saw them. And then you look around and there's like speeding cameras everywhere, you're on CCTV 90% of your life, you have to track in where you work, count the hours you go, and it's just like, that's exactly the same thing. We're the prisoners in this system where we are so afraid that they're gonna judge us for what we're doing and put us in a box and put us in prison because we might have done something wrong. Maybe they've seen it, maybe some of it doesn't even work, but because of that we change our behaviour, not because we morally believe something's right or wrong, but because we're being afraid of being caught doing something that they don't agree with.
Like, we just came here originally thinking that, we were just sort of van gypsies, and I just wanted to get away from the normal world, and I also didn't want to go back to what I came from. And then it sort of like just progressed to a lot of people. I mean, we've got like 13 people here now, and we're all very similar minded. We all know that the world out there is broken, and we wanted to do something about it.
The idea of protesting is all well and good, but to me, just like getting together to shout at a gang of psychopaths who have caused all this damage in the first place is futile. And how I see it is, you know, all of these people who end up in them situations or in those positions of power, I call it gold star syndrome. So they're being like institutionalized by the education system, which is basically, for me, school was sit down, shut up and stop it. And if you can sit down, shut up and stop it really, really well, you get your gold star at the end of the day, or the class or whatever. Ah, what's up, mate? You wanna go to school, are you? You're getting gold star syndrome. And then after school, it's all about your slave tokens, isn't it? Slave tokens. And with your slave tokens, you can go out and buy other slave things.
The system is actually rigged against mothers and fathers, because it's actually really difficult to raise your own kids, especially if you're on a low income. There's not many people that can actually afford to stay home, and usually one of the caregivers works full time and the other one stays at home, which is isolating and very exhausting and challenging. And really, we're supposed to be living in tribes, in villages, so that we can all look after each other. We can all look after each other's kids. We can all help with the education and the care. And this is a much more natural and like holistic way of raising kids. And most people don't have access to this. Most people just live in houses by themselves. They send their kids to nursery because they think they have no other choice, and they let the state raise their kids for them. And they think that the future's going to change, even though they're just putting their kids through the exact same education that we went through.
You all know, whether you admit it to yourselves or not, that something is very, very fucking wrong with how you're living. You know, we're all being fucking poisoned, everyone's getting fucking cancer, all our children have fucking autism and like mental developmental problems. The whole place is fucked, and it's just going down and down and down, and every generation it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And I've tried to talk to people about this in the normal world, because I saw it straight away, you know. Obviously, if you come from that world, you know, you go through school, you go to college, you get your fucking job and all stuff like that, you've been conditioned and mind-fucked into thinking that's the way it is, and that's normality. But because I came from a completely different world and then walked into yours as an adult, I can quickly see what's fucking wrong with it. And I'm just like, this is not right.
Yeah, well, when you completely withdraw from normal society, you just realise what a big fake farce it is, and everyone's just running off. It's just fake. What can I say? Just everything you think makes you and your personality. The way you act is usually run off what you think of other people think of you. I was just completely made up of fakeness, and I knew a character of myself and not really who I was inside, and coming here and stripping yourself down to nothing, and yeah, just being able to sit and be, but it's all about getting back to nature and leaving that fake world behind.
If we want to really change the world, it starts with the way that we raise our children, and we have to do something different to the way that we were raised. And one thing that we can do that's going to be radically different is to not put our kids through the mainstream education system, because they're just learning the same things that we learned, but now they're sitting in front of computers instead of, you know, with a paper and pen.
First and foremost, they want to make the electric safe.
It was made safe already last time they were here.
And
I've got proof of it.
We've
got
got
proof of it.
and we've got it on camera.
Yeah.
It's all part of our evidence claim against the man known as Julian, who's causing all this harassment.
Who is Julian?
Julian's the director of the Sharpham Trust.
Right.
And he broke in here out of working hours with Western Power and opened the electrical box. They pulled cables out, and we've got it all on film.
Yeah.
And then
when was that?
This was 3 weeks ago.
I've sent him a third notice now yesterday, trying to seek some kind of remedy with him, and he's just sending.
He's ignored us.
He's just escalating more and more sort of violent controversies
and every time it's something
intimidations.
new, and it doesn't add up.
Yeah. This is frightening for us and
No,
intimidating.
I can understand that.
We don't need any of it.
No.
This is another day I've had to take out of my time, to come here and just speak in defence of these good, peaceable souls.
And I can see that you all
and
want to do
it frightens me every time I have to do it. You know, this is real. You know, you're dressed as soldiers. You do realise that.
It is quite intimidating.
We're not.
No, I agree.
Honestly, you can't say it doesn't look seriously hostile.
I can understand
You know,
that.
we're not soldiers. We don't want battle. And again, we're not members of the public. But you're referring to other people. You all are. We agree. Yeah, we understand where you're at and what you're in, the jurisdiction you operate in. We just don't want anything to do with it. Thank you today.
Okay. Ultimately, there is a warrant.
It doesn't.
That will be executed.
Well, we don't recognise it even as valid until we see it. Does it have a court seal on it? Does it have a case number? We don't know anything about any hearing. We weren't told anything. So that's all been done above our head. We don't recognise that as valid.
Sometimes that does happen.
Well, no, it doesn't.
It does. Sometimes people can go to court and get warrants without the other parties being present.
On God's earth, we don't operate that way, yeah? We deal with each other face to face. That's a totally dishonourable way of behaving.
So are you moving forward?
And we can't.
And surely you guys are here to, the US constables are here to just make sure this is a peaceful occurrence day, right?
We're also here to uphold the instructions of the court. Now there is a court warrant in place, which we can.
That court in this instance. It's just as simple as that.
With the best
as agent, notice to principal, please go back to the highest authority in your land, which is the woman known as Elizabeth, who acts as your queen. I can't say it any simpler.
No,
if she doesn't give you authority to act in this instance,
and I feel in my heart that there was something beautiful before we had the Corporation of England that took over, and I don't believe that we're all supposed to live these frantic, fearful, horrible lives whereby we're just constantly trying to make a little bit more to get by. We can actually live completely and utterly abundantly, in harmony with each other, in harmony with nature, caring for one another, helping each other when we're sick, and helping each other figure out what's wrong about ourselves and what's bad about ourselves so that we can move forward. And that's why I love this place, is because I feel like that's what we do here, and that's something that I needed to get over my traumas and my misbehaviours and misgivings and things that I'm still not over them. You know, we're still working through things all the time, but like what being on the land makes you humble, and being humble is good for the soul, and I feel like it's really important people learn to go back, not just always forward, counting, paying attention to things growing with the seasons every year, and taking your time to do that so that you don't get caught when things have changed too quickly.
Basically, I'm waiting for the day that people just get on the land, and that'll be the day that the world starts to actually change, and it is. Like, that's what we're doing anyway.
So one of the things we've done in order to stake our claim here on the land is we've put 4 square flags, not rectangle flags, because every rectangular flag is another act of war or symbol of war. It's what a country uses. We use the 4 square flags to represent our peaceful position on the land. You know, we're coming in peace, and we used it on all 4 corners, as they do, 4 corners of the earth. You know, there's this lots of etymology to do with that, but the reason they do that is because they've staked their claim on that piece, but we're actually doing the opposite, staking our claim on this piece.
I'm sick of living in a system where we're having to work our whole human experience, work just to live, and it confuses me how people aren't realising that that's not life and that's not how we should be living.
One of the things I'm aiming to do is find teams of people who want to stand up, get your pickaxe and your shovel, and just go around the country installing swale systems to start harvesting water. That's kind of going to be key over the next few years, really, because the weather's become so inconsistent. All the rain's dropping at once and just getting washed straight back into the sea. The land is becoming just dehydrated, and you know, it's like we're just beyond the tipping point, really. if we don't do it right now. And I mean, like, go out now, buy your shovel, pickaxe, and come and join the team.
Sui juris. Sui juris. Do you understand the words or even the meaning of them?
No, go on.
Before the law. It's jurisdiction given to us by God on earth as man.
Okay.
We claim that jurisdiction, we hold it, and we will hold it against all comers. I'm sorry, we cannot allow you to enter here today.
Rob,
it would be an invasion of a foreign nation. You are not given right or authority to invade independent, neutral nations. Your Queen does not give you authority to invade foreign states.
I don't believe
we're a
that you
neutral,
are a
peaceful state. We are. We declared it. We declared it 2 weeks ago. We're declaring it again today.
Just because
and a
you
man on
declare
earth
it
has
does
the
not
right
make-
to declare anything. Same as the Queen of England, or Elizabeth, had the right to declare herself Queen of England, and you all went along with it. We're saying, no, we don't want to go along with that anymore. Thank you very much. She's your side, we're this side, and you'll literally be invading a foreign nation, like England invading Switzerland here today, if you come across
Rob,
that
can you
gate
please listen
in any
to me?
way. There's no way we can agree to anything, sir. I can't, Chris, I cannot keep allowing you to speak and just roll it over again and again and again. It's just further intimidation. It's further harassment. Well, you are, because what you're saying is that you're going to enforce something we know we don't have, that has no authority over us unless we accept or be willing to accept it. And well, when
be that either today,
please go and get the authority from Elizabeth, the woman who knows herself as Queen of England. You respect her and her voice. If she speaks to you,
because notice the agent is notice the principal, no? And that's a maxim of law.
The Queen is the principal of all agents of the Crown in England.
So if we notice you, you have to notice your principal.
You have to notice the principal,
but it's a maxim of law.
Then has to notice all other agents. It's a maxim of man's law.
No, we don't have to do that.
You don't apply to maxims. You don't apply maxims to your code.
Of the Crown.
So you're not here as constables?
We are now tasking you as messengers of a message, an important message, back to the principal of the Crown, the Queen herself. She is the one who wears the hat.
Yeah, but she bestows upon us certain powers and
Only
discretions
at
that we can use.
Yeah, and
this
using
is
your
one of those
constable's
powers that we
discretion here
can
today,
use.
I would suggest you go back and ask her in more detail. Let that footage go up the chain of command. I insist upon it. We have the right to be heard. We have the right to be heard. We really do have the right to be heard by the highest authority in your land, which is going to be the Queen. I'll quite happily go and speak to her in her palace if she gives me free passage and you know,
the options.
I need to be protected. This is not protected.
With as minimal fuss as possible.
No, it can't be. We can't consent to any of that.
Then the only option is that we come back later on with more officers, and then we force entry onto the land, and we allow.
That cannot be.
That is what will happen.
Well, we don't need to see that. Consent to either of those two options.
We then say that High Court order, even if it exists in truth, is either a counterfeit, or we appeal to a higher court to have it overturned, and the highest court in the land is Queen's. So, yeah.
Yeah, you can constantly make deals with the universe. It's like you can manifest and have whatever you want, but it does come at a price, and you have to. You know, there'll always be a sacrifice you have to give up, whether it be in material possessions or. I just feel like this big move here. I've walked away from friends, family, where I lived all my life, and I'm almost contemplating, as well as changing my name, getting rid of the whole lot, because that gives way to. You know, really rebirth and disassociate and become something new and realise you have the power. But yeah, just you can make deals all the time with the universe. You know, as you were saying, like with the mystic meg stuff and what's just put out in a mainstream to sort of deter you or get you on the wrong track. All this manifesting these days is like, oh, you just think of it. If you just think of it and keep thinking, it'll come. But you have to actually do something in return. You have to put the work in. You have to change.
My dad's slogan is, we serve nature, nature serves all.
There's hundreds of thousands of people every weekend protesting in London at the moment, and just my logic says, you know, if all of those hundreds of thousands of people started to repair the damage that's been done to the landscape, to the country, you know, we'd get a lot more done instead of shouting and complaining to these psychopaths who just do not give a shit about what you're saying.
Just stop giving your energy into a system that's already crumbling anyway, and we'll just speed up the process of getting back to basics and back on the land, because the longer we give our energy to it, the longer it's going to go on and the longer we're going to be enslaved.
time now to turn it all around and use what we have got left to rebuild the future for ourselves and our little ones. Isn't it, bud? What we've got to do, create a nice world for you guys. Because I'm not leaving this planet without making it better.
What's the solicitor acting on behalf of your...
No, of course we don't.
Okay.
We are man on earth. We speak for ourselves in our own truth, and we deal with each man individually in private and confidence. Yeah. So, Chris, I'm not even recognising you as anything other than a man.
No, I can
all
see
that costume it just disappears in my mind. You're naked as the way God made you.
You wouldn't want to see me naked.
No, you would. I would, because in your God's glory, you're the man you are in truth. With all of this uniform on, it does change what you think you can do.
Which is why I don't.
And you're trying to explain that to me, and I'm trying to explain that it doesn't.
Okay.
And to bring you down to the day you were born, before England even got you signed up.
Rob,
you were born for this
we're going
truth.
around in circles on this.
Well, I'm just having to defend you
so the options,
at the gate
are
because you invade our country if you do. Literally, this is a peaceful nation of people declared out of England. You can understand that's rather different. You've never come across this situation ever before in your working career so far. What?
In situations like this,
okay,
maybe not with the same belief system that you hold.
Fine, so it's a different, unique circumstance, and therefore it has to be taken in the merits of its uniqueness.
It does.
It is not an event like any other you've seen before.
But I can honestly still apply to it my professional judgment as to what.
Oh, look,
I've
that's just being,
previously.
and I don't want to use the words, but that's just being jobs worth about it, and we don't recognise your right to have that job's authority over us.
Right.
We strip it from you.
On your own.
We either, you either police by consent or you just bully and ride roughshod over everybody.
Yeah,
and we're not consenting to anything.
Consent
the fact that you have any authority over us. You have authority over anyone in England that wants to be part of the English system who goes under their personating name on their birth certificate. We don't. Put that all on the floor. I'm just a man standing under God's earth. And I recognise it was all given to us as a gift, even our very lives, every breath we breathe.
Right.
You're not being charged for any of it.
These
None
guys
of us
don't
are.
want to.
And we don't want to fight over who owns which bit, who owns what to whom, because it's all a nonsense. And the Queen started it. The Queen's created the liability. She must provide the remedy, and she did. It's called the SKV. All commercial charges get paid off from that fund. You know it in the world today as the primary care trust.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't just run your hospitals, and
I know that.
It runs all of the care for all of the paupers. We're paupers. We own nothing. We declare ourselves to own nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Queen needs to look after it at her expense. Having taken so much from the value of England into her private possession, I believe it's something in the region of £17.2 trillion worth that her family have stored up in the background from the work of England. So we want some of it back to pay all these debts and charges that you people claim we owe, and we know we don't. Right. We don't owe anything. We don't own anything. We can't give you anything other than our authorisation to go away, leave us in peace. Check this out with the Crown. When the Queen comes to us and speaks with us in peace and truth, we'll accept what that deal finally sorts itself out as.
The court that have issued the warrant
is such a lower court in jurisdiction to where I'm speaking at the moment.
Okay, but it's still. But it's still
if you were to invade us from down there. Yeah, we would actually have the lawful right to kill you on the spot, and that would be fucking insane, because that would then escalate it to a ridiculous level of violence.
Yes,
and we don't want to do anything of that, or even have to speak on these words. But what would you think you'd get if you invaded a foreign kingdom? If you went to France today and behaved like this, what would you expect the French people to do?
Right, Rob.
Throw you back in the sea.
Rob, if you're
so
going
this is
to
the
start
point. This is not England.
We start setting foot on this, that we're going to be met with violence.
No. This is what I'm saying. This is what you're bringing to us, and what we'd have the lawful right to do to defend ourselves, but we would never ever want to go anywhere near that idea.
We would have the lawful right to retaliate.
You've got all of the torture devices, the killing machines. You've got all of the. You are seriously tooled up to kill. You're protecting yourselves from what? We're peaceful souls with a cup of tea.
I'm not saying they can be used against
anyone capable of doing.
Take it down a second.
I'm not saying that we're wearing this particularly for you. We wear them as part of our normal.
Whether she wants to attack us here today, because that's what she's doing.
Right. I'm not going. I'm not. I don't have any route to speak to the Queen.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
of course you do. Notice agent and notice the principal. Right. You send that up the line and it goes all the way to the top. I'm asking and declaring that that's correct.
Fine.
I require it. It's necessary, proper, righteous and lawful.
Okay. Rob,
do you understand the meaning of those 4 words?
If you wish.
No, it is true.
We have powers that have been given to us by Parliament, by the Crown,
And we are not part of the England system that is
Fine.
anything. They're
You-
not
you
our
can
parliament,
believe-
they're not
you
our
can believe
queen,
that as
they're
much
not
as
our
you like.
rules. That's not our country
You can
anymore.
believe that as much as you like.
It's not a belief,
The
it's
ne-
a truth. It's an
Fine,
absolute
for
truth.
you, that's the truth. The truth of what I'm telling you and what will happen is that at one way or another, this warrant will be enforced.
I don't believe that's correct, so I can't agree to that. If I were to
That's
agree to
either
that,
going
it
to
would
be
be
through.
giving consent.
That's either going to be through today.
You have no
we do it
consent to do
peacefully
today.
with just the few of us that are here.
We want to hear or have this heard in a court of public record where it can be then
It has been
recognised by
heard
the
in
whole
a
of...
court.
No, it hasn't.
It has. There's a warrant signed by a court.
I don't know what
By a
that kind of a
magistrate's
court was
court.
doing or what misrepresented facts that they were working on, but we never got our say in the matter, so they never heard from us.
Yeah, we're
That's
going to
impossible.
something-
It's impossible for that piece of paper to have any representative reality to us because we weren't involved in the communication of it. We didn't know it was
Unfortunately,
happening.
sometimes that happens.
No, well, that's not real then. That cannot be the
Okay.
case. That's dishonourable and we will not accept it. So it will have to be heard
Whether you
in a
agree with it's
court,
dishonourable
and
or not.
it depends on how they want to bring that court to our being. We want
This
Elizabeth
is
to
how
recognise
the
that
court
this is
has
her
brought this to your
court.
being. Is
The
through
Queen's
the energy
court is
company
what
and
needs
us
to be
support
sought.
them in that warrant.
And I'm sorry, but this is...
So we either enforce the warrant today,
no,
or we end up coming back with more officers. With full sentry onto the land.
We're going
If
to
anyone
notice,
offers us
we're going to have
violence,
to
those
notice
people will
both
be arrested.
the Devon and
Officers
Constable
or
Constabulary and the
Officers,
police
constables, very
force, because they're
interchangeable
two
words these
different organisations, and every member of it, that would be a trespass
So-
against us by way of harm.
Right.
You know you're not allowed to do us any harm. The
That-
list of
right.
trespasses, including...
You're not
is
going
all
anywhere.
allowed to
You're
do,
staying
because that's
here.
what's
All they
happening.
want to do is we're not removing
That's
you
what
from
would
anywhere.
happen.
We are stopping
This
you
is the first
from
step.
using English
This is the first
electricity.
step. It's God's
that's our
electricity
point.
on God's earth. We all live in God's peace. We were born on God's earth. It's a gift. No one owns any of it. But the Crown put it all in trust, and the Queen is the trustee of it. Well, we have now come of our majority. We recognise our rights to stand in peace on our own right. We don't have to have the Queen telling us how to do, what to do, when to do.
Right, Rob,
That's
you
only
need-
for
you need-
children.
you need to make a decision
It's
now as to
called,
how this is
it's
gonna go
called
forward.
sui juris. We stand
Either-
in this jurisdiction
either we
of
do
law
this
now.
today,
This is the same jurisdiction of law
calmly,
that
with all of us
Elizabeth
here,
stands in.
or
and
we come
as
back with
Elizabeth,
more
I
constables.
speak to
And would that
Elizabeth
not
as
be
an
calm
equal.
then?
As an
Yeah,
equal,
if we've got to
she
use
does not
reasonable
have any
force to come
authority
onto the land
over
and do what we need
or
to
any
do,
of
then we
these
can use
people.
reasonable force
But there's no
against-
reasonable
to
force
exercise
against
the warrant.
peaceable
People that are
natives.
using the force
There's
against
no such
Islam,
thing as reasonable
being
force
Then you
against
can
peaceable
challenge that
natives.
through the court if you wish.
But
Well, I'm
no,
telling
we
you, I'm
have
just
to...
asking you, do you think that's right?
Yes,
do you
use
think you
reasonable
have the right
force
to
to
do that?
exercise the law of the land and what court has
But
been
this is
given.
not the land that law applies to.
So-
Can you not recognise these
I'm
words?
talking about right and
Am I just
right and
speaking to
And,
thin air?
and I've told you that I respect
Apparently.
your beliefs, but on this
It's not a
occasion,
belief. This
we
is the
will
truth,
we
and we're
will
making
be-
this
we
as a
will be
declaration
exercising
under the
warrant.
law, sui juris.
We will be exercising the warrant.
Not
So
here
it's up
today.
to you
Not here
how
today.
we're going to do it. We can do it today,
No.
calmly.
We
with
wish
these
to
guys
speak
here,
to, for
or
instance,
we
the
come back
district...
with people in vans and we use reasonable force to gain onto the land.
First and foremost, I want to speak to
Right,
someone
those
at
are
a
your
far,
options.
far higher superior level in order to make
Right,
the
those are the
understanding of
instructions
what
I've been
all of
given
your
from my
people will
inspector,
be
who is the highest
involved
rank
in.
that's on duty.
He's only the duty
So,
inspector. I think
it's
I need to
entirely-
speak to the... who's the chief constable of Devon and Cornwall
I've told you
Constabulary?
what
Who's
the
he?
options are.
He is someone I
Yeah,
think
you
we
got-
need to
have you
speak
got a
to.
card
'cause
that we can take to,
he would all... He
and
would
those that contact your superiors?
Indemnity.
Personal indemnity
call
insurance
101.
of each officer as well.
You can call 101.
We need your indemnity
No,
insurance
I'm sorry,
details
you can't
though.
do
So
that.
those-
You do, because you're acting in a public capacity.
So you have to give us that
No,
information.
you as a woman are in that outfit, coming here in a public capacity, all of you. Whether you,
She's not a woman, she's a police officer, she's a police constable.
So-
Please don't refer to her gender.
What you hear, there's no control.
Fine. Then we'll be coming back with...
well, you still need public indemnity insurance details if you're acting in a public capacity.
And get that off them, won't
That
you?
is how that's how it's going to happen.
You're lawfully obliged.
Servant in the
Have a
public
warrant
who
so I
asks
have
for
permission to
someone.
gain access to property and make it safe for the children that are on here. So.
By taking the power away.
Yeah, they made it unsafe. I've got it all on video. They made it unsafe.
I'm not going to get immediate. If you feel
Western Power that we're
that
here
you've
for,
been
we've
illed in
already
any
deemed it
way,
safe.
there is a course of redress that you have through our system, not through yours, and that's where you can go through it. I suggest if you're unhappy with our decisions, that's what you should do.
we don't want you to today.
I think the options are
you're operating ultra vires, brother.
peacefully.
I mean, completely ultra vires.
We need to do the electrics.
Under the law. This is the rule of the law. This is what your Queen
actually
actually took an oath of office to uphold. The rule of the law.
I've got all the numbers on here
You
as
may do
well.
anything you like on earth, but do no harm to any living soul or that which is proper to it. And that is the rule that your Queen took an oath to abide. But what's all these regulations she's got you all operating under? That's nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us.
Your mate's filming me, so it's going to be all on that.
So can you give us the date and time and everything?
No, it doesn't. We don't have to give you a date and time that we'll return. We'll return when it suits us.
Right, that sounds like a gangster.
That's a threat. That puts us under immediate threat of immediate invasion whenever you choose.
Well, that's how you interpret it. What I've interpreted will come when we've got the right resources.
We do it now whilst we're here, so you know that when it's coming and it's being done today.
Can you give us 24-hour notice then?
No, we don't have to.
You don't have to.
No.
When will anyone ever start listening?
You've already told us
you really are just being
your land
You're just talking
that we may be
over.
offered
You
with
listen.
violence. So why would we give you the heads up as to when we're going to
offer any
We didn't offer violence.
Well,
We just
yeah.
said this is what we have the lawful
We've
right
got it
to
on
do
video,
to defend
you
our
saying about
peaceful
violence there.
territory.
Okay.
But
We
you would
said we
force
will
that
use
upon
lawful
us.
force, and you said that you will.
Well, if
do
you
that.
use unlawful force
Not
against
unlawful.
violence, it is. Violence would include invading a foreign kingdom here today,
Violence is a
or any
violation
other
of
day.
someone's rights.
So,
And you are imposing yourself on us. That's a violation of our
Listen
rights.
then,
That's
listen.
violence.
Right, so you've already said that how you're going
That
to
is
meet
violence.
that.
Well, we're meeting the level of violence you're bringing to us just with words at the moment. But were you to invade the kingdom in the same way as if anyone
I'm going to
invaded
bring this
Switzerland, what
conversation
would the
to an
Swiss
end
do?
now. I've told you what the options are. You guys need
So
to
who
go
do
away
we
and make a
speak to?
decision.
Because I've already made notice to the
Yep.
Queen, and if you're refusing to take it to her, then I'm sorry, you're in dereliction of your duty as the Queen's
Fine.
constable.
Then make a complaint through Devon Court.
It's never going to be a complaint. I have to take a claim against you, the man.
Then make a
but I
claim
now
against
make a
me
claim
through the
against the Queen,
That's
the
absolutely
woman
fine.
known as Elizabeth, who calls herself Queen of England. I make claim against her
Then
that
that's
she will be
absolutely
trespassing
fine.
with all of her troops and men
Okay.
if she insists that you come across this gate today or any other day.
I've told
I
you
make
what-
that as a
I've-
declaration
fine.
as a man
Okay.
who stands upon earth under God before the law, sui juris.
Then
Please go and have that piece of recording listened to by someone who knows legal language. You don't, honestly, you don't know
I've
it
told
enough.
you what the options are.
That is an
I'm
important
ending the
declaration and
conversation
statement
now.
I make towards
You've got
your
I've
Queen.
told you what the options are.
That is my
It's either we
last
come
word
on
the
now
matter. I can't
peacefully,
keep
we do what we
continuing.
need to do,
We
or we
can't.
come back with additional officers.
Only
and
when
we use
you've had
reasonable
that
force
notice
to gain entry to the
understood.
land,
You
and
won't-
anyone
you
that
won't have
anyone
any
that
lawful
impedes us in our
authority to do that in that
duties,
time either.
anyone that impedes us in our duties or offers violence will get arrested.
And you
That-
will not.
That is the.
You will not
those
have the
are the
right
actions.
to arrest anyone. It will be a kidnapping, false
Fine.
imprisonment,
Okay, then whatever you
assaults,
wish to interpret
torts,
that
torts
as being,
conversions, and whatever
that's
else
down
you
to
do
you.
to anybody, it'll be £1 million per person, per event, per
Fine.
incident.
Then
we would like-
bankrupt the entire constabulary, boys.
That's the risk that
That's
I'm
the
willing
point.
to take. So.
We're trying to make this so expensive that you just
Leave
leave
her
us alone
wife
in
and
peace.
kids,
So-
mate.
And we
Go live
authorise
peacefully,
any
live
commercial
your
charge
life.
against us, including this electrical nonsense, to be against the Sister
Rob,
Cave Trust. The Queen
Rob,
can absolve it.
Rob,
Done.
I've told
That
you
is
what
the
the options
correct
are.
way of
I've
doing it.
I'm ending the conversation.
Well, we should
now.
end the conversation.
But hang on.
Thank you.
I would like
No,
personal
I've had the
indemnity
conversation
insurance
now.
details of all of the officers on site
We
because
don't
you
have
do
that.
have to give that.
No, we don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, we don't have to do that.
I think it's Hotel Tango Charlie.
They don't have to do that.
Well, if they don't recognise us and we don't recognise them, then we've actually established the truth that
Yeah.
we are a separate nation of people, that we don't recognise them, they don't recognise us. We are free of England. This is not England. English law does not apply here. We say it once, we say it forever, it applies now and in all perpetuity. Thank you for your services here today. We don't want to see you again under any circumstances. It will be a trespass if you come to us again in these manners.
And so we put the 4 flags up, and then we've renamed it. We haven't renamed it because we own it. We've renamed it because we don't want to be considered to be part of Sharpham, which is actually just a completely two-faced company that doesn't really have any grounds in where they stand. They say they're one thing, but they do something completely different. So we wanted to be something else. We didn't want to completely rename it because we don't own it. You know, nobody can own land. We can't own land. Only God can own land. And so we've just named the place where we're living at the moment, and we've named that Harpham Shire, just from higher sharp ham. We've named it Harpham Shire, and that just means harp is a many-stringed instrument, ham is a small village,
and a shire is of its own jurisdiction, and it was completely by accident that happened, but basically we're a many-string village of our own jurisdiction.
Right, I did some research and I had a look at the, what would you call it, the geographical, what do you call it, Carl?
Geobiology.
Geobiology of the land, and it's, yeah, people obviously know a lot more than we do, but apparently the ley lines cross here, and this is actually would be where the vortex is, and it's where they cross, and same as Glastonbury, places like that, so it holds a lot of well, spiritual plant powers. Apparently people come here for healing and yeah, to get closer to themselves and know your dark side, the side you don't face often. Ooh. So that's what it's all connected to. So yeah, a lot of people, but why they're drawn here they don't know, but it always usually comes down to healing, and then when you come here you can do a lot of good soul searching and what can I say, yeah, just heal yourself, get to know yourself. That's what it's all about.
We want our kids to experience a more authentic way of living, one where they can have real human connections with each other, and a connection to nature, and they can discover what they're really passionate about and find a true sense of fulfillment in the things that they choose to do in their life.
Everyone here has got this this story, this sequence of synchronistic events that have led them to, or led us all to this point now, with the same intention and the same idea of transforming this world from a world of abuse and trauma into one of care and compassion. And the way we're going to do that is by creating an environment where we can go through this healing process.
You have to realise that sitting back and fucking moaning and just accepting things for the way they are is perpetuating the cycle that we are all stuck in. And so if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.